Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person. I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius. I had the best words. Tolerate. I know words. Mike Pounds. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid. Anonymous, really anonymous. I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. Had the best words. God bless the United States.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation, everybody, welcome to the show. It is Monday, start of a new week. We've got more insanity, of course, on today's show. We actually got a lot of stories. So a lot of the stuff that's happening over the weekend we're going to talk about today. We've got Mitch McConnell also talking about obstruction. We got an old video that's making the rounds about Mitch McConnell. Lots of fun. We got Eric Trump thinking that there's an imaginary vaccine. That's fun. Dr. Fauci, of course, involved in a Trump ad and is none too happy about it. We are also going to talk about, of course, the Taliban endorsing Donald Trump, which is hilarious, and plenty more. So we got a packed show today. Absolutely packed show. So today we also, of course, have the hearings about Amy Coney Barrett. So that's been happening today. I think we'll probably talk a little bit about that stuff tomorrow. And so that's interesting. Look out for that because we've already got shenanigans too, including a senator or several not wearing masks, including Senator Mike Lee, who literally has coronavirus. And so, oh, look. We have another event that could possibly be a super spreader event. Fantastic. So, yeah, just another Manic Monday. Indeed. That's a good reference. All right. So, anyway, let's dive into it. Before we do, please like and share. We're on several different platforms. We are multi-streaming here. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So please like and share on your respective platforms. In fact, if you're on Facebook and Twitch, come over to our YouTube and please give us a like during the break, if you could as well. Also, we're nearly 10,000 followers on Facebook, so help us get there so I can begin to monetize as well. And of course, it's going to go to help the show. All right. So if you hear some sounds, we've got a cat in here. That decided to jump up on the desk. And now, since I'm doing the show, the fact that I'm talking so loud, he was kind of freaked out by it. And so now he's getting into stuff. So that's always fun. So if you hear noises like crashing and stuff, you know what happened. Currently, right now, he's trying to get into a bag. Cats. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. All right. Anyway, if you were watching the stream yesterday, by the way, when we were doing some gaming streams here, you may have gotten a look at the cat. So it's very cute. Misanthropist, I cannot show the kitty because he is way over there. And he does not like to be shown. as again, I showed you guys last night, if you were watching the stream. All right, anyway, let's dive into the show. Let's do some maladjusted kitty must be an indoor. He is. He's an indoor, yes. On Monday, Senate Republicans began confirmation hearings on Amy Coney Barrett as they try to rush through their nomination before the election. And it's very likely that, of course, it's very possible that they will be able to push this through and to get her confirmed. So now they're saying that, well, we're only doing so because we need to fill it as soon as possible. We've got a month, less than a month to the election. So this is absolutely unprecedented how fast they're trying to push this through, how close to the election. And so they say, well, we're doing so because, it's our job. We are constitutionally mandated to give Donald Trump's nominee a hearing before the election. All right, well, sure, that is part of their job. That's true. The only issue, of course, is that these same Republicans just years ago blocked the nomination of Merrick Garland for a very, very long time. And not just Merrick Garland, of course, but numerous Obama-appointed judges all over the judicial system. In fact, I've got a video here that's talking about this. But I got to ask, hey, Republicans, what happened to your constitutional duty? I mean, back then. It's too close to an election. And so it's an election year. We're too close. You get into the end of Obama's, second term. And we can't do that. We just can't do that. It wouldn't work out very well. We need to give the American people a voice. Well, this time, they're not at all in favor of that. And so let me go to this old clip here from Mitch McConnell that has resurfaced to show you how they feel, how Mitch McConnell felt about blocking Obama's judges for so long. Take a look.
I was shocked that former President Obama left so many vacancies and didn't try to fill those positions.
I'll tell you why. I was in charge of the of what we did the last 2 years of the Obama administration.
I will give you full credit for that. And by the way, take a bow. All right, that was a good line.
That laugh. It's weird. It's almost as if Mitch McConnell is openly admitting to massive obstruction when it comes to Democratic justices. And not only that, admitting it, but he's taking joy. He's like, I'm the one who did that. I blocked about Obama's judges for a very long time. Yeah, he's happy about it. He's proud. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I didn't give them a hearing. That was me. And then later on, turns around a couple years later and says, oh, no, you can't possibly try to block us from, from at least giving this judge a hearing, Amy Coney Barrett. I was like, how dare you? Unfathomable. How dare you Democrats even consider it? Which, by the way, the Democratic Party isn't even fighting really very hard on this issue. They're really not. I mean, they've taken, Nancy Pelosi kept talking about how many arrows she had in her quiver, and then she's like, those arrows, we can't use that one. That one's mean. That one's also mean. We can't do that. So, we just might as well just hand over the whole quiver, because we're not going to use them seriously. It doesn't really matter. Oh, by the way, vote for us, and give us money. More importantly. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, great. So now the Democrats do say this. They say, well, Mitch, this is not really cool that you would do something like this. We're not going to really fight it, but maybe you should, be a good person and wait until after the election. To which Mitch McConnell says, what are you, stupid? This isn't about fairness. No. This is about power. Power is power. And I forget who says that, but they're absolutely right. Power is power. That's why Mitch McConnell understands power, and he wields it unabashedly. Okay, he doesn't give a damn about being a hypocrite. He's absolutely proud of it because it helps his power. In fact, he told Fox News this, quote, "The most important decision I made in my entire political career was not to fulfill a Supreme Court vacancy." And why is that? Because he ensured through that one act of obstruction that conservatives will dominate the courts, the lower courts, the lesser courts, which are very important for the foreseeable future, as well as the Supreme Court, meaning that he has rendered future Democratic administrations powerless on a lot of issues and have also emboldened future Republican ones. It is a masterstroke that both Democrats are willing and unable to stop, or unwilling and unable to stop. They don't have the Senate. They refuse to use the limited tools that Congress actually has. Again, I said they took the quiver and they basically just gave up. And because they're too hung up on civility and decorum. And despite evidence going back years and years, still perpetuate this myth that Republicans operate on good faith. They don't. They don't operate on on good faith. Even going back to Obama when he said back, I don't know, what was it, 2012, 2014, something like that the Republican fever, anytime, it's going to break anytime, and then they'll be willing to work with us. It's not a fever. It's not a fever. It's who they are. Power is power. Understand. And what we need to do is we actually need politicians that understand that and are willing to use power when they're given it. We need to elect progressive Democrats who are not afraid to wield power like McConnell does, or we lose in perpetuity. And the establishment Democrats, they're not going to save us because they don't care to represent us. All right. Judges are supposed to rule on existing law, not their party. Tell that to the Republicans, TJ. Fair is fair, man. Moving on. Where's the checks and balances? Well, I know where the checks are. They're coming from conservative think tanks that are putting forward these judges, these nominees. All right. There seems to be an ongoing debate about which Trump kid is the dumbest, with Don Jr. and Ivanka Trump saying some pretty dumb things. Ivanka, of course, showing that she's completely stupid when it comes to foreign affairs, foreign policy. There's that famous video of her trying to butt in to these conversations with actual heads of state and looking like an idiot. But Don Jr., of course, has had his own share of ridiculously dumb things that he has said, both on Twitter and during interviews. But now we might actually have a winner in the dumb-off. Not between those two, but Eric Trump, because, well, feast your eyes on this one.
The guy sounded 100%. It was amazing. It actually probably goes to speak to how good some of these vaccines that are being created are. And what my father's done on the vaccine front, no one could have done. No one could have done. I mean, literally, Biden was calling my father xenophobic for shutting down America from travel to China. I mean, and the virus came from China. My father literally started day one creating this vaccine. He worked to push this vaccine, and now my father just took it, and you see how well he got over it.
Wait,
I think it's an inspiration. I think as Americans, John, we should be very proud of that.
Can you clarify that? You said your father just took a vaccine?
Meaning when he was in Walter Reed, the medicines that he was taking, and
the
on
therapeutics.
Friday, he felt horrible. And on Saturday, again, I spoke to the man 3 times on Saturday, and he sounded tremendous. And I think it goes to show the power of medicine and in this country, and how far that that we've come on COVID in the last 6-7 months.
Vaccine. There's a vaccine. What vaccine? You think that would have made like gigantic news that there's a vaccine? There's no vaccine. There's no vaccine. And look, Jonathan Garland's like, wait. What are you talking about? Vaccine? Wait, what? And he didn't even correct himself. He's like, oh, medicine's great. What? There's a big difference between therapeutics and vaccines. There are treatments, yes, but not a vaccine. And this guy's an idiot. What an idiot. Again, Donald Trump did not take a vaccine because there is no vaccine. Yes, there are several companies right now that are working on a vaccine. So I'm not saying that that a vaccine will never exist. What we're saying is that we don't have one that has been tested and is ready unless Eric Trump just, spilled a gigantic secret and said, oh, yeah, it turns out we do have a vaccine, but it's only the president that can take it, which would be pretty big news. But there's also the same big news that Donald Trump had gotten experimental treatments that less than 10 people have actually had available to them. So we got highly experimental and rapid treatment, unlike, what you and I would ever get. I mean, I'd never get that kind of treatment. I'd never get airlifted to Walter Reed. You and I would not. And we wouldn't get Regeneron, which is something he had also gotten. We wouldn't get access to that stuff, which means we would be more, of course, susceptible to succumbing to the disease if there are, of course, major comorbidities. And so, nonetheless, that's what we have going on. And as far as Donald Trump recovering, is he recovered? Is he recovered? I don't think so. In fact, here you had Donald Trump struggling to speak during an interview on Friday, just a couple of days ago.
Well, I didn't even want to use them. Last time I had a big problem. They oscillated my mics when I had the one debate. We had 3 debates with Hillary, and I think the first debate, on the first debate, they oscillated the mic, and they oscillated it very, very seriously, and they actually apologized to me.
Did they oscillated the mic, and they were very, very sorry? I can't breathe. Come on, dude, really? Are you serious? No, he's not over it. By the way, you don't get COVID, you don't get over COVID that fast. I mean, Herman Cain fought COVID for over a month. Millions of people, called long haulers, continue to battle the virus for several months. And so, look, Cain, kind of a bad example because, Cain died after this battle because of the fact that he had previously had cancer before. And so that is, of course, a comorbidity. And also, it happened several months ago, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have those experimental treatments that Donald Trump had, which helped him apparently quite a bit. But at the same time, here is Donald Trump. Look, I don't think he's dying, right? But he's obviously not doing fantastic. And so that's a real concern. If you are concerned about the health of the president of the United States and his ability to make decisions while in office, well, then you should be very concerned, even now. That especially that he's trying to pretend that I'm perfect. I'm completely over. No. Look, doctors, here's what the doctors did. They administered a steroid, an antiviral, and an antibody cocktail to the president after he tested positive. Okay. Now, he also received, corticosteroid dexamethasone, which I've talked about before, which can, create, as a steroid does, can create feelings of euphoria, mania, things like that. The antiviral drug remdesivir, an experimental antibody therapy created by Regeneron. So now Regeneron, interestingly enough, was created in part from fetal cells made from aborted tissue. Now, look, I don't give a shit. Okay, I think it's fine that you make those, that you can use aborted fetal tissue in medicines. I don't give a crap. I don't really care if you might have an issue against that if you're on the pro-life side, oh my God, how dare you? I don't care. That said, I wonder what his evangelical followers think. Are they okay? They okay with that? That he used, aborted babies in order to get over COVID? I wonder if they're oh no, that's fine actually because Donald Trump is special and more deserving, And so, we're okay with that because it's the greater good or something. I don't know. Maybe you should ask Eric about this. Maybe he'll tell you what's going on. Now, Trump's treatment, by the way, is, and this is according to Regeneron's, an official at Regeneron, who was a member of the Trump National Golf Club in New York. So he said this: Trump's treatment with the company's experimental cocktail is a case of one. The president's case is a case of one, and that's what we call a case report. It's evidence of what's happening, but it's kind of the weakest evidence that you can get. So basically what he's saying is, yeah, Donald Trump might seem like he's doing better, but that doesn't mean that Regeneron is ready for anybody else. So it doesn't mean that we're ready to bring it out to market and to help other people. It just means that Donald Trump demanded that we give him the best of the best and the experimental treatments, probably because he was doing pretty bad. I mean, you don't give these medications to somebody who has a mild or moderate case. And that's the other thing. These, intense steroid therapies, experimental drugs, and oxygen, it really does suggest that he was doing far worse than he thought, than we had known, right? And that he is giving off. And he's trying to pretend that, no, what are you talking about? Everything's fine. I'm doing great. Come on. We're not buying it at all. Now, the real evidence, he said, he continues, about how good a drug is and what it will do on average has to come from these large clinical trials. These randomized clinical trials, which are the gold standard. And, of course, they haven't done that yet. Experts have also said, by the way, that it's impossible to know yet if Donald Trump no longer poses a risk to others. So there's the other thing. He's like super spreading around the White House. Took off his mask, right? He's been walking around the White House, has been, went to a debate, did all this stuff. Had his drivers drive him around in order to, have him wave at his followers. Doing all that stuff while he's contagious. And we still don't know if Donald Trump is still contagious. But he doesn't care. And by the way, Benjamin Pinsky, who leads Stanford University's virology lab, says at this point there's no diagnostic test that tells you whether the person that's infected remains infectious. There's absolutely a chain of unknowns, but Donald Trump doesn't give a damn. He's putting people at risk for his own political benefit. As for Eric, though, again, does Eric even know what a vaccine is? It's amazing that this guy can even dress himself, much less do an interview where he's actually asked serious questions, because obviously Eric Trump is not a serious person. All right. Moving on here. All right. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the country's top infectious disease expert, is calling out the Trump campaign for deceptively using him and his words in a new campaign ad. So now this ad, I'm not going to show you it because it's a Trump ad. Nobody wants to watch those. This ad released last week, shortly after the president was discharged from Walter Reed, following treatment for COVID-19, basically touts Trump's response to the virus, which has been disastrous. Of course, if you watch the ad, it's presented as, oh no, Donald Trump has been tremendously amazing. Look at how great he's dealt with coronavirus. In fact, this ad had Dr. Fauci saying this, quote, "I can't imagine that anybody could be doing more." Now that right there sounds like a tacit endorsement of the job that Donald Trump has been doing on coronavirus. Except that that's not at all what Fauci had been referring to. And so, look, there's the problem. You've got Donald Trump taking this out of context. You put it in an ad about himself in an attempt to make himself look better on a virus that, millions of Americans are not only dealing with, but are very concerned about. In fact, Donald Trump has been doing very, very badly at the polls as a result of the coronavirus. In fact, 2/3 of Americans are very unhappy about the response to coronavirus. Dr. Fauci, however, has a high approval rating, higher than Trump, and more people trust him when it comes to coronavirus, which has the baby very, very upset. Oh, are you jealous? Little baby's jealous, little Donnie. And so he knows he's in a world of hurt over this response. Now, Fauci, he sees this ad, and he's not happy about this. In fact, in a statement, he said, and there's a reason why this is in a statement and not him, for example, going on ABC News with John Carl. Here's what he said. In my nearly 5 decades of public service, I have never publicly endorsed any political candidate. The comments attributed to me without my permission in the GOP campaign ad were taken out of context from a broad statement I made months ago about the efforts of federal public health officials, Fauci said in a statement provided to NBC and CNN. So, look, they take him out of context, they muzzle him, and they try to stop him from speaking out. That's it. How do I know he was muzzled? I mean, he just put out a statement, right? So, what am I talking about? Well, look, there were some accusations from ABC News' John Carl saying, look, we tried to get Fauci on the show, and the White House blocked him from coming on. So now here on Twitter, White House Communications Director Alyssa Farah goes and attacks ABC News and Jonathan Karl for saying that, saying this. False. Dr. Fauci has been doing media all week, appearing on PBS NewsHour and NBC's Andrea Mitchell 3 days ago. Not getting your desired guest does not equal the White House trying to muzzle anyone. This narrative is tired. That's fake news. Oh, sorry. John Carl didn't request any member of the task force. That's fake news. And obviously, Jonathan Karl is going to come with receipts to prove that that tweet is fake. And let me show you that. This is an email from Jonathan Karl to Ms. Farah. Alyssa, I'd greatly appreciate a response to my request to have Dr. Fauci on this week on Sunday. As you know, he is willing and eager to be on the show. His voice is an especially important one now as Americans are looking for information amidst yet another spike in COVID-19 cases nationally. Does Dr. Fauci have your permission to be on the show? If you are unwilling to make Dr. Fauci available to answer questions about the health aspects, will you make Dr. Birx available? How about Vice President Mike Pence in his role as head of the coronavirus task force? If not Fauci, Birx, or the VP, can you make Admiral Giroir available? How about Dr. Conley? If not Dr. Fauci, Birx, the VP, Admiral, or Conley, when you make Dr. Hahn available? Jonathan Karl's like, dude, I don't care who you pick. Just get somebody. We want somebody on the show. So please let somebody come on so we can talk about this. And then, well, nothing happened. So look, again, Fauci wanted to make an appearance. They said no. I wonder why. Could it be that Donald Trump wants to sideline Fauci because he's been critical of Donald Trump's response? Or because maybe now they're, instead of promoting Dr. Fauci, they decided they want to promote Dr. Atlas, who regularly spreads misinformation about masks. In fact, last month, NBC News reported that CDC Director Robert Redfield acknowledged during a flight from, it was a phone call during a flight on an airline saying that everything that Dr. Atlas says is quote unquote false. Now, NBC News, which overheard the comment, reported that Redfield was overheard, as I said before, saying that and acknowledged after the flight from Atlanta to Washington that he was speaking about Atlas. In a statement sent Monday afternoon, the CDC acknowledged Redfield and Atlas have, quote-unquote, different positions on some issues. The article quotes Dr. Redfield as saying everything he says is false, but it cannot supply the context for that statement since we only heard one side of that private conversation. Positions on 3 issues: the value of wearing a mask, youth COVID-19 infections, and where we are currently with herd immunity, are the positions that Dr. Redfield has different positions on than Dr. Atlas. The doctors agree on many other issues. Oh, just those 3 little disagreements. About herd immunity, young people getting COVID, which they absolutely can, and the value of wearing a mask. Gee, those happen to be really, really important positions when it comes to policy dealing with COVID-19. I mean, they're like playing it down. They agree on many other things, except for the masks. Oh, really? And you don't think that's a small difference? That's a gigantic difference. Wow. But give me a break, Look, I know what's going on here. Donald Trump's playing politics. Of course he is. We know that. And we know that Donald Trump, of course, wants to win an election. Why? Well, of course, every politician wants to win elections, you might answer. And that's true. But I think in Trump's case, I don't think he wanted to win the first election. I think it was a ploy in order to try to make money. Like, for example, when he got a resurgence from The Apprentice, okay? The Apprentice skyrocketed his career. And he was able to get tons of licensing deals. A failed run for president is the next logical step. Unfortunately, for us, he went after, he had basically the luck of going up against the weakest Democratic candidate in our entire fucking lifetime, Hillary Clinton, and won. And he's like, oh shit, now I'm in office. And now, well, he wants to stay in office because here you have a bunch of investigations into his finances. You've got $421 million being due to creditors that he likely does not have. And so all these investigations, he's going to try to stay into power so that he doesn't have to pay that because he doesn't have the money. And so, yes, he's using politics, and coronavirus is his weakest, the thing that he's weakest on. It is his vulnerability, his Achilles heel. And he is getting destroyed by coronavirus, not just in his frail, fat organs, but also, and I should say fat-laden organs, because he's a big guy, and so am I. Let's be fair about that. That puts you at even more risk, by the way, being super overweight. And Donald Trump is very overweight. That puts you at risk. And so, yes, he wants to win, and only for that. And, of course, coronavirus is not great for this, and he's not doing very well. So that's what I'm just saying. He's going to play politics, and he's going to take the guy out of context, Dr. Fauci, and not allow him to fight back because it, at the end of the day, hurts him. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We are going to talk about Ronna McDaniel Romney. Oh, boy, I keep getting that confused. Donald Trump's Superman moment and the Taliban. Always fun. Stay right here. Be right back around the nation. Please like and share the stream and also super chats.
I like my meat tight. Tighten up my meat. Yosemite.
Wait, you're getting nervous, man.
All right, buddy, welcome back to the show. Around the Nation right here. Waldorf Nation. Waldorf here with you. I've got the cat, but he does not want to make himself known. Come on, kitty. He is just... You can't see him. But he is sitting, like, right in front of me on my desk. So, I just don't have the desk low enough. Hold. Maybe. There we go. You can kind of see him over here. Is that Buddy? Yeah, he's like freaked out because the desk was moving. All right, let's go back down. It's interesting to have one of those standing desks, but all right. Anyway, he's very shy cat. All right. Anyway, let's move on. We got more stories here. He's plotting to get... Cats are not evil. He's fine. He's just a little freaked out. He didn't like all the noise. Moving on. Okay. Sorry, bud. Let's talk about the Taliban. Put the camera on the cat on camera during the break. I would like... Whoop. There goes something on my desk. Okay. I'll figure things out. No. Name withheld. He's not an old cat. He's actually about a year old. But anyway, I gotta keep going. More stories. Let's get to the news. President Donald Trump has received a rousing new endorsement from the Taliban. Wait. Yes, I'm serious. All right, so a representative of the terrorist group in Afghanistan said the group supports President Donald Trump's re-election on Friday, according to CBS News. Quote, this is according to Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid, telling CBS News, we hope he will win election and wind up U.S. military presence in Afghanistan. Mujahid reportedly added that it approved of Trump's campaign America First slogan. Trump has mentioned the phrase in numerous speeches throughout his presidency and campaign. Now, look, normally, okay, so we know that his America First really is mainly about Donald Trump first, because that's basically who he's benefited. Donald Trump first, not America first. Nonetheless, it's a bit nationalistic, a bit xenophobic, but that's who Donald Trump is. So, that's it. Mujahid said to CBS, it is the slogan of Trump from the start that they are not cops for the world and don't want a single flag and anthem for the globe, but their priority is America. And so here he is also taking a shot at globalism, interestingly enough. So now the one thing I agree with here is, yeah, we should absolutely leave Afghanistan. Yes, in fact, we shouldn't have been there in the first place. So we didn't need to be there. We didn't need to be in Iraq, and we don't need to be the policeman for the world. That I agree with. That said, that doesn't mean the Taliban are good people. They're actually not the greatest people. They're religious fundamentalists. They're Islamic religious fundamentalists. And so, look, nonetheless, U.S. foreign policy is an absolute mess. That said, getting endorsed by the Taliban is fucking hilarious. Not only do they hope Donald Trump wins the election, they're also very concerned about his health after he got coronavirus. In fact, another senior leader from the group told CBS News, quote, "When we heard about Trump being COVID-19 positive, we got worried for his health. But seems he is getting better." Are you saying the Taliban actually is more pro-science than Donald Trump, who played down coronavirus? That's even more hilarious. Wow. And it's, it's so nice to know that there are good people out there that care and support our president. It's really kind of heartening when you think about it, that people care so much about the president. That said, this is the best quote. And, I'm just messing around there. But the best quote here is from a senior Taliban member who said, quote, "Trump might be ridiculous for the rest of the world, but he is sane and wise man for the Taliban." If that is not both a brilliant jab and an endorsement at the same time, I would be very surprised, because that's awesome. That's fucking hilarious. Because it's the Taliban. These guys, again, are Islamic fundamentalists. I'm not saying they're as bad as ISIS. In fact, look, ISIS was probably the worst of the worst. And I believe the Taliban and ISIS were at odds with each other. But I'm not saying they're good people. They're kind of bad people. And so it's really funny to hear them say, "He is sane and wise for us." Okay, brother. Sure. Now, the best part about this story was a horrified response from the Trump campaign. I love this from Tim Murtaugh, communication director of Trump's reelection bid, said, quote, "We reject their support, and the Taliban should know that the president will always protect American interests by any means necessary." Unlike Joe Biden, who opposed taking out Osama bin Laden and Qasem Soleimani, Murtaugh said in a statement to Insider. So, run away, run away, run away! Oh no, it's the Taliban! Back away from this one. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Not cool. So I love how they were instantly denouncing this. I wish they had been so fast in denouncing white supremacist groups like Proud Boys. That said, when did Biden say that we shouldn't have gotten bin Laden? I'm very curious about that. So I looked into it. It turns out this talking point's been around for quite a few years. And it comes from a conversation between Joe Biden and Barack Obama about the bin Laden raid. Now, the bin Laden raid was super, super risky. Why? It's because, well, bin Laden was in Pakistan at the time. And they weren't 100% sure that bin Laden was even there. And so if they struck this place and he wasn't there, that risks an international disaster. And so Biden allegedly told Obama that he wanted to wait for more confirmation that Osama bin Laden was actually there. And so, look, that makes all the sense in the world, okay? You want to wait till, you know 100% that who you're going to attack is actually going to be there. And so now later on, he also allegedly told Obama, look, go with your instinct. Now, Obama's instinct was to launch that raid. Because, look, again, we're talking about a man that had a kill list. And so he was not afraid to go and launch attacks and raids using drone strikes and apparently troops in this case to go after suspected terrorists. And so there's that. All right. And nobody knows the details of the conversations except for those two who had the conversations. And Obama ain't saying anything. That's all I'm saying. The worst thing that you could say about Biden in that situation is that he was being overly cautious, which kind of makes sense, really. And then later on, putting out statements, bending over backwards to avoid criticism from Republicans, as establishment Democrats often do. They care a lot about what Fox News and Republicans seem to say. And of course, he didn't want to look, quote unquote, weak on foreign policy, as usual. Right. But look how quickly they disavowed that. Again, way faster than they disavowed the Proud Boys, which Donald Trump had said during the debate, stand down and stand by. But this was instant. I mean, look, no, we shall not have any brown people that support us at all. Step away, step away, step away, run away, run away, run away. But here's the thing, right? Right-wing domestic terrorism is actually much more deadly in the United States than Muslim, Islamic fundamentalist terror. So right-wingers, extreme right-wingers, do cause more death, do more damage than any terror group in the United States. And so domestic terrorism is a gigantic issue that the Trump administration is doing next to nothing about. In fact, they're continuing to, of course, do stochastic terrorism, where they'll go and they'll say, "Oh boy, I wish someone would do these Second Amendment solutions to these Antifers who are the terrorists. They're the true terrorists." And then, of course, here you go. You've got these quote unquote right-wing militias going out there, which are terrorist groups that are doing violence, as counter protesters. And so there's that. And so I'm just saying, like, he moved away from one group faster than the other. I wonder why. Maybe it's because one group supports him more. That said, overall, we should not be in Afghanistan. There's a reason they call this country the graveyard of empires. And so I actually do hope, policy-wise, Donald Trump follows through on his promise to withdraw troops and no longer get into the... If anything could, be the legacy of the Trump administration, or at least part of it, it's at least getting out of Afghanistan, a country we should have never been in the first place. And so policy-wise, I'm not against it. I just think it's fucking hilarious that he's getting endorsed by the Taliban, by a terrorist group. All right. Moving on. Ronna Romney McDaniel. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Ronna Romney McDaniel, who has coronavirus right now, who's the chairperson of the Republican National Committee, was having a little problem doing basic math because she suggested on Twitter that 82% of Americans make more than $400,000 per year and therefore would be subject to increasing taxes under Joe Biden's tax plan. The ultimate brain fog. Hey, that is one of their, one of the symptoms of having coronavirus. That mental fog, that mental fatigue. And so in a tweet on Sunday, McDaniel pointed to a video clip from a conservative media group, which asserted that middle-income earners would see a tax increase under Joe Biden's tax plan. In fact, I want to show you that video, and then we're going to tear it apart.
Okay, let me also ask you about the vice president's tax proposal. He has said that he will not raise taxes on anybody making less than $400,000 a year. But the analysis put forward by the Tax Policy Center shows that, in fact, middle-income earners making between $50,000 and $90,000 a year will see an increase of $260. Is he wrong about this? Is the tax? It looks like there will be at least some increase for middle-income earners under his tax plan.
All right, so there's the video. Here's Ronna's tweet. Joe Biden was raised taxes on 82% of Americans, and we cannot afford it. Okay, but here's the thing: you're not part of the we, Ronna. You probably make millions of dollars as GOP chairperson. You're probably incredibly wealthy. But that's, again, not even what the organizations are saying, all right? Analysis of Biden's tax plan by the Tax Policy Center, the Tax Foundation, and the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. They all say that Biden's tax plan will not actually lead to an increase in direct taxes for people making less than $400,000 a year. Ronna McDaniel is saying it's going to raise your taxes. Devil's in the details, of course. But I say again, the studies, these organizations, which are conservative, said that it will not lead to a direct increase in taxes. Now, the analysis do indicate that Biden's proposed corporate tax hikes could indirectly lead to workers having to pay more somehow because businesses would pass along some of the costs. But that wouldn't be in taxes. A corporation just can't pass taxes onto their workers. They can't actually do that. I mean, they could do that by not raising wages, taking away some certain benefits, and things like that in order to maximize their own profit. That's an example of corporate greed, a great example of corporate greed, and why we need to go after that corporate greed and stop corporations from being able to do that. Maybe by promoting more union activity, unionization, workers' rights, things like that. But I can't believe they're using that as a way to say, I can't believe Joe Biden's going to raise taxes in the middle class. It is so incredibly dishonest. These corporate moochers, I mean, just the idea that they're going to pass this down to the workers, again, not the same thing. Not the same thing. It's completely dishonest, bullshit-ass framing. As for a stance on repealing the Trump tax cuts, the tax policy organizations above say Biden will specifically repeal its provisions that give cuts to people with higher incomes, preserving cuts for lower income people under $400,000. The Tax Policy Center clearly says in its analysis, the Biden plan would roll back income tax reductions from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 for taxpayers with incomes above $400,000, while the Tax Foundation says its plan will repeal the TCJA components for high-income filers, basically saying Biden will not raise taxes for people making under $400,000 a year, full stop. It's clear as day. To go and make that claim that, it's going to raise taxes on people is patently bullshit. It's completely false. Fake news. Fake news. And yet, there it is. And she's making that claim. Either she's got the COVID brain fog, or she's lying to you maliciously. Maybe both. Knowing Republicans. So now the internet had a few things to say. For one person, CB, says, "Oh, come on, Ronna. Get some rest. Not now, please." Yeah, we'll deal with your lies later. Another person says, "Fact check, still not true." Another person points out, few people I know make over $400,000 a year, and they're certainly not middle class. And really, that kind of depends on where you live. New York and LA have incredibly, absurdly high costs of living. And there are some places in New York and LA where $400,000 is upper middle class in that region. But for the vast majority of the country, vast majority of the people, that is not middle class. That is very wealthy. And so now, if you're going to say that most of the middle class, which has an average of about $30,000, or probably about $35,000 or $35,000 to $60,000 a year, roughly around there, is middle class. And then, of course, up to about $200,000. So Joe Biden actually does pretty good for some of those high earners in New York and LA. And so there's that. But again, regular workers not going to be affected by this. Not going to be affected by this. There's more. That is the top 1% of wage earners at $2,000 hours a year. That is $200 an hour. How many of you earn that? Oh, God, I wish. Imagine getting $200 an hour. Holy crap. Most people are still struggling to try to get, $15 an hour. Many people are living on $7.25 an hour. $200 an hour. Imagine that. Another person points out, if 82% made over $400K, then we damn well better agree to have taxes raised because we'd be wallowing in abundance. Yep. And then points out, oh, wait, the super rich who make over that want to selfishly hoard wealth plus refuse to pay their fair share back into the system that made them super rich? Got it. Yeah, like Donald Trump paying only $750 in taxes. I mean, again, Donald Trump, that's how much he paid in 2017, 2016. And then for 10 years, he didn't pay any federal taxes. Another person points out, wow, 82% earn more than $400,000 a year. I need to step up my game. Another person said, I just checked, and only 2% of American families make $400,000 or more. Another person says, I make under $400K, way under, and my taxes went up under Trump. I'm excited for Joe's new tax plan. And then finally, people got sicker and the rich got richer. Top 1% of U.S. households holds 15 times more wealth than the bottom 50% combined. New data available shows that the wealth gap got bigger. Guess that's who Trump and you GOP are talking to when you say the economy is doing well, the 1%. Nailed it. Nailed it. So, gotta love how the internet comes correct. Unfortunately, that's all the time I got for you guys. Damn, that went fast. All right. Well, thank you for going around the nation with me today. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Thank you to all of those joining us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Void Queen, S Bloom 85, and Yes Star. You're all awesome, and thank you for joining on Twitch. I'm working on getting Twitch set up a little bit better, and all that stuff. And so, yeah, we're trying to expand over there. YouTube as well. Let's see. Got a couple of super chats here. Elwell says, all kitties are good kitties. I do love my kitties. And Name Withheld says, years ago, South Park predicted that stem cells would revolutionize medicine. And they were right about that. Absolutely. Over here on Facebook, Rose Monteverde says, Trump math or T-Rump math. And let's see. I miss Obama. Haven't had a president since he left office. I've had my issues with Obama, but at this point, I would take him over President Trump in a second. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for the super chats. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you all tomorrow, right here, 4 p.m. Eastern. Again, that's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We'll see you all at that time tomorrow. Love you guys. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. You have a good day. Stay safe.
Please clap.
CSN writes,
Silent.
I like my meat tight. Tighten up my meat.
Mike Pounds.
Why, oh, you're getting nervous, man.
You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.